Welcome to the Kentucky Valley Educational Co-op. My name is Stephanie Kidd. I'm Achievement Gap Specialist for Mathematics, and I am here today to talk about using a 100 grid to teach students how to add and subtract coins. So I just want to take a few minutes and talk about the standards in which our students are going to see with counting money. First of all, it starts in kindergarten now with the new Kentucky standards, and that is basically just recognizing and identifying a coin. So that is a penny, nickel, dime, and a quarter. And basically, you just show them a nickel, name the nickel, be able to select the nickel. They're not identifying the value of the coins in kindergarten. They're only identifying what they are. So that's one of the standards that we need to keep in mind. Now, in first grade, there's some different ones that they're going to be doing for first grade. If you think about it and how we can do this, in this part, we're assigning value to coins. So we want to identify the value of coins, pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. Now at this part, a penny has a value of 1 cent, a nickel has a value of 5 cents, a dime has 10 cents, and a quarter has 25 cents. And this can be taught in many different ways. It can be used during maybe calendar time and those kind of things, or just during maybe a math lesson. In grade 1, coins should not be used as models or manipulatives for the purpose of teaching place value or counting by ones or skip counting, it says, or even addition and subtraction. You just want them to identify the value that goes along with it. Now, it's when we get to second grade. And in second grade, they're going to use word problems to solve it. So they're going to use word problems, and they're going to solve by adding and subtracting within 100, not using dollars and cents simultaneously, but using the dollar sign or the cent sign appropriately. And that's not including this. Now, at this point, we're going to make sure that they can count by fives, like I said, and those kind of things. And they're going to add and subtract 2 coin values or dollar values, but not both in the same problem. So a good example is 6 dimes and 3 pennies. And we know that this is important, and this is why I'm going to show you the video in just a minute of using a hundreds chart to actually teach this. And so it can be very important for our special needs kids or any kid that's struggling with being able to do the skip counting to be able to do this. And it provides them with a visual that allows them to get a better understanding. So let's move on to our wonderful video. What we're going to talk about is the hundreds chart. And what I want to basically talk about today is how am I going to use this to identify coins and also be able to do add and subtraction of coins. So with this today, we're going to begin by just identifying a couple of coins. So of course we know that this is a penny. And I talked to the students, they already understand this is a penny. They understand maybe that it's already worth 1 cent. So if I had 4 or 5 of those, I could just go down through here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5 cents. So I can actually see that. Now, not only do I know that 1 penny is 1 cent, 2 pennies, 2 cents, and I understand the amount in my head, but I can also visually see that 5 for myself. Now, if I'm having trouble, and I may want them to lay them out several times, I want them to see a dime is 10. Well, if they have trouble counting by tens, they can always count 10 more up if they have another one. So they count them up, and they would lay it down on the 20. So if they're having some trouble, they can do these kind of things. I like for my students to see these on there, and I like for them to see how many does it take to make a dollar. So they would lay them out. If they had some dimes, they would lay them out 10, 20, 30. And we may play this game a couple of times using only dimes or only nickels. How many ways can you make a dollar? So they will do this. Or using dimes and nickels, how many ways can you make a dollar? And so the students come up with all the different ways to make a dollar using just dimes and nickels. this is a good way for them to start to see this, so they know that 10 dimes make $1. Now they can stack these up and put these over here, and they can make another dollar a different way. So that's one thing that I want them to be able to see, and I want them to be able to do that. But if they've got multiple coins, let's talk about the fact that now they've done just dimes, and maybe they're doing just dimes and pennies. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But let's say that they've done this part, and they've created them, and they can see that's 14 cents. One dime, 4 pennies is 14 cents. But now we're going to introduce maybe quarters. Now my kids always had trouble with quarters, and one of the things that they had trouble with was just counting up by 25s. So after we would lay these out enough, they would start to see 25, 50, 75, $1. And they would say that many times, 25, 50, 75, $1, and they would always be placing these on there. It's real important for our students to be able to do that. So the next thing that you would want to do is for your students is to, like I said, you're putting multiple coins in their way, and they may have trouble for a while. So I'm going to lay out some coins up here at the top, and we're going to put them on here. I'm just going to get some different ones so they can start to see it. And so sometimes, the kids would arrange it, but they don't have to. That's the cool thing about this. They don't have to. Sometimes I make it easier. Sometimes I would tell them, leave your ones to the end. Leave your ones to the end. So they would put their ones off to the end. And so they know this is 25, and they put it in there, and if they remember the chant, they go 25, 50. So they would remember that. Two quarters is going to make 50 cents. And then this dime is just 10 more. Well, if they've done enough addition and subtraction using the number chart, they know that 10 more is just straight down below it. And so then they'll remember 50, 60. I'm counting by tens, 50, 60. Most kids can't do that. They can't change over. So if you have a student with a disability, changing over for coins is going to be a problem for them. And then when you talk about 60, they know this is a nickel, this is 5 more. They can actually do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until they get an understanding there. Another nickel, 5 more, and then that's 1, 71, and that's real big for our kids to change from counting by 5s to counting by 1s, or change from counting by 10s and then counting by 1s. That's a real problem for some of our kids. And this is 72. So this is one way that they can start to see that. Like I said, you can make it a game later. How many ways can you make $1 using 2 coins, some dimes, and a couple of nickels? How many ways can you make $1 just using those 3? How many ways can you make $1 using just, nickels and dimes? So great ways for you to use your tools and use a hundreds chart to teach students not only addition, but counting coins, and for them to be able to have that visual so they can do that. And that also goes for if I'm subtracting 10. So let's say that you need to take away some money. So let's say that little Johnny went to the store and he has 65 cents, and the thing costs 13 cents. How much is that going to be? So at this point, they can see the 65. They can count back if they need to. So they go, I'm counting back. They would count back their 13 cents. Where would they land? 1, 2, 3. There's 10. 52. They're at 52 cents. So keep that in mind. They can do multiple ways of doing that. So if they're having coins, they spent this amount, they can use it. Now, if a student is doing, they're having trouble, maybe you've given them, or the problem's giving them a bunch of change. And let's say that this is what the problem has given them for change. And it goes more, or it goes past $1. Let's just say it goes past $1. What I tell my students is, once you get to $1, you filled it up, and you're able to fill up your sheet with $1. At that point, and like I said, they're probably going to start 25, 50, 75. Some of them will know that's 80, and they'll just go ahead and do that, and then they'll have this amount here, 90, $1. you stack this amount up. This is your first dollar, so they're going to stack it up. They stack that dollar up. That's $1. Now I'll come back down here. That's 10, 11, 12, 13. Now this is 13 cents. So I have $1, and sometimes I even have them stack it out beside the 100 so they would remember that's $1. You can see that on here. And then it's $1.13. So just a quick way for our students to be able to have something that's going to show them what is $1, and then the extra amount of change. Like I said, this is very important for our students because many times they have trouble when they're counting, transferring over from counting by 5s to 1s and then 10s to 1s. That's a real big problem for our students. This just gives them that visual aid, that little extra support that they may need. And sometimes it can just be a blank hundreds chart. They can write it in. I know this is 10, one dime is 10, the next dime is 20, 5 more would be 25, 5 more would be 30, and they can just start writing it in. So give them a blank one and give them a dry erase marker, and you've got an empty one that they can start filling in after a while. They should become very familiar with it. Just scaffold that learning so that you're taking it away as they don't need it. So once they understand and they don't need that part, take it away. So take it away and give them an empty hundreds chart. So great ways to use this. My email is provided if you would like to holler at me later.